Welcome to the Empowerment Zone, brought to you by South Dade NAACP, where we share trustworthy information, uplift local voices, and connect you to the resources and pathways that support thriving, one conversation, one connection, and one action at a time. It is where South Miami-Dade listens, learns, and leads.
Welcome to the Empowerment Zone. I'm Harold Ford, president of the South Dade Branch of the NAACP, and today's special guest is Ms. Sarah Coleman with the YWCA. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Amen. And first off, we want you to share a little bit about yourself, and then also share a little bit about the organization itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Sarah Coleman. I'm the Senior Director of Race and Gender Equity at YWCA South Florida. YWCA South Florida is one of the oldest women-serving organizations in South Florida. We've been around for 106, almost 107 years. So, and I've actually Googled this, we are older than sliced bread. We are old.
Wow.
We are intentionally located in Overtown. Go Overtown. We're intentionally located in Miami Gardens. And we have been serving women for 106 years through economic prosperity programs. We have early education. We have Head Start. We do health and wellness for breast and cervical cancer exams. And we have my department, which is the Race and Gender Equity Department.
Amen. And so you're going to have to really expound and unpack that whole
It was a lot.
part because, you know, that's an interesting title, Director of Race and Gender Equity. What exactly is your role and why is it needed or relevant today?
Yeah. So I oversee the department, and all of the programs within that department are what I believe to be equity responses. Race and gender equity are kind of at the top of the list of the no-no words of our current political administration, but I believe they are incredibly important, especially now today, more than ever, because even though there are attempts at removing equity and diminishing racial and gender issues, our work is geared specifically towards those issues. So everything from our Economic Justice Council, which teaches C-suite business leaders, industry leaders in South Florida about why women can't make it past the first rung, why there's only about 7% female CEOs in South Florida. It goes into our programs for our civic engagement programs, all for about women of color, why they vote, how they vote, like the barriers to voting, which I know we'll talk about a lot later. And then also our Community Justice Challenge, which is coming up. All of our programs are equity responses to social injustices. So that is what I spend Monday through Friday doing.
Wow. Well, we need to get a camera and follow you around.
It would just be me in my office like ding, 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 ding.
But if you could explain, what exactly is the Community Justice Challenge?
So the Community Justice Challenge is a 21-day challenge, Monday through Friday. It's free. It's open to the public. And it is a challenge, a daily challenge where you are sent an article, a podcast, a resource, a video, all geared towards social justice issues. Okay. This started back in 2020, was a direct response to Black Lives Matter. Okay. And YWCA, I think it was either Cleveland or I can't remember if it's Cleveland or I'm going to say Cleveland. They began it and it took off. Okay. It became sort of like a national viral challenge. And it's covered everything from racial bias to, legal injustices, bodily autonomy, transportation issues. It covers a wild array of social justice issues but was really geared towards educating people on something that I think a lot of Black and brown Americans have known about for a really long time, which is just like systemic racism. And so the challenge was really a way to take the burden off of people like me and you, having to educate our peers and our communities, our neighbors about what has been going on in this country for hundreds of years. I think it was also meant to be a glimpse into Black and brown joy. We did a whole week on hair 2 years ago, and it was beautiful. It brought me back to my own childhood, and understanding that in Black communities and in Black families, hair is sometimes a connection to culture. It's a connection to heritage, to therapeutic, respite. So it really shifts every year. And this year it is completely focused on voting rights.
Okay.
So the entire 21 days will be all about voting rights.
Okay. Well, Trent, how do I sign up?
Well,
How do people sign up?
you can visit our website, YWCA South Florida.org. It's on the very first page. There's a link to sign up, to register. And you can also follow us on our social media, YWCA South Florida. Our Instagram, the link is in the bio. Super easy. Just click the link and you're in.
So are men able to sign up?
Yes. Everyone can sign up. Everyone.
We're inclusive.
Yes, absolutely. So we do serve women, but we also are in the pursuit of freedom, justice, and dignity for all.
Okay. So the impetus for this particular initiative basically is to empower people.
Absolutely. Empower people with education, knowledge, historical context, big picture. And then my favorite part of it is getting to maybe see a glimpse into someone's like lived experience. I think that is a huge connector of people, which we really need right now. And also being able to see yourself in the content as well. Representation. So yeah.
Okay. So the goal is basically empowerment.
And for this specific challenge this year, it's voting rights, education, empowerment, and mobilization. We are starting with the Constitution, going through the 3/5 compromise, all the way to Voting Rights Act, to House Bill 991 and Save America Act. So we are like starting at the beginning and coming all the way to now. So everyone has a full understanding of what we have gone through to get here, what we're going through right now, and why we cannot let up.
That's right.
Not for 1 second.
Amen.
So that is what this challenge is really, really geared for.
Okay. Now I know you said it was 21 days. Is there a specific start date, or you kind of people get in where they fit?
No. So it starts Monday, June 15th.
Okay.
You will receive an email every day, Monday through Friday, for 21 days. And it ends on July 13th. But during those weeks, you'll get an email every day. We also have activations. Like every Tuesday, we'll have an Instagram Live for our Take Action Tuesday, where we will talk with organizations around South Florida who are doing civic engagement work. They'll talk to us about what they're doing. Everything from like voter ID laws, which is a huge thing right now, not just for married women or our immigrant community, but also for trans folks, people who might not look the way they used to look on their ID. So they've changed their names. So everything from those things to just simple voter rights, like don't get out of line if you're in line. Are you registered? Do you want to vote early? Talk about those things now. Don't wait, So, yep, those are the things.
I love it. I don't know. We may see if there's some type of synergy we can create, because there is also a new initiative that we're starting to push forward through the NAACP South Dade Branch, known as the Faith and Freedom Civic Engagement Mobilization Strategy, where we're trying to partner with churches, partner with Greek letter organizations, partner with other organizations, nonprofits, to again advance this idea of registering to vote, being empowered, educating voters, and then mobilizing them.
Oh, yeah.
What good is you to register if you don't.
Absolutely.
You gotta exercise.
That mobilizing part is extremely important. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's like, it's fun. We'll go vote. But you got to think about transportation. You got to think about our people who are in the service industry or in those part-time positions where, they might not have the ability to take off, or they might have childcare responsibilities. There's a whole, people talk about making a plan to vote, and that sounds silly, but it's real, for our families that are taking kids to daycare and then going to the grocery store, and then they're responsible for such and such and such and such. When are they going to go vote? So I think having these conversations now versus, a day before, planning, mobilizing is so important.
Right.
So important.
And request that vote by mail ballot.
Do it, y'all.
Get a heads up. Jump on.
Exactly. One of the numbers that really blows my mind is, we think this primary coming up and this midterm coming up is so important. It's like, some people are talking about how it's like probably one of the most important local elections that we've had and that we might ever see. I personally am like, okay, I thought that was 2024, We had 500,000 voters sit out of the 2024 election. That's 500,000 people. And so we cannot talk about this enough. We cannot talk about the education and the empowering and the mobilizing enough, because if even half of those 500,000 voters voted, things could have been different. We don't know. But all I know is voter suppression doesn't sleep.
Exactly.
Voter disenfranchisement doesn't sleep.
Correct.
And so we have to keep going. We have to stay up.
Amen. Amen. She's preaching over here, y'all. Come get some.
Yeah.
So now when you're looking at this whole initiative, how would you define it success? What does success look like in this particular?
You know what? I love that question, because for me, I'm like really easy to please. We have like funders and grantors that are like, how do you define success? What are the outcomes? And I'm like, we had 280 people click open the email. Like, is that success? Is it the email I get from, last year we had a whole week dedicated to immigration. And I had so many emails from people in my community who are first generation, their parents are immigrants, and responding to an article, responding to a podcast that we sent out, that we shared, saying, oh my God, like, this is me. This was my experience. Like, this got me. And for me, that's success. I can look at numbers and I can look at the human response. I'm more into the human response, but success is knowing that there's someone out there that feels seen, or someone out there that's learned something. And I think with this voter rights challenge, my goal for success is people are registering and people are voting. I don't know how I'll capture that data, but that's my view of success for this one.
Well, one thing is looking at the numbers.
Exactly.
When they produce the numbers by the supervisory elections, you can now go and see how many additional registered. For example, giving you some numbers, we just recently did some research as part of this whole initiative I was telling you.
Yeah.
And we discovered that in 2024, November, Miami-Dade County had 224,000 Black voters, Black registered voters. In May of 2026, we have 169,000.
Yep.
So 55,000 just Black voters alone.
Yep.
Statewide, there's 200,000 less voters from the same time period. So we don't know. We know there's a lot of purging going on.
There's purging, yeah.
But we do also know that there's a lot of transient.
Absolutely.
And so we got to make sure, looking at the raw numbers now, when we see those upticks, we know what success looks like.
Absolutely.
Now, is it going to be great success? Is it going to be minimal success?
Right.
Whatever that looks like. But the bottom line is we have some metrics that we can focus on.
Yeah.
And identify what success would look like. But more importantly, I just like the energy and the effort
Yeah.
put forward. Because again, if we don't do anything, we can't expect any
Right.
good results.
Yeah.
To befall us, because we've already seen what's happened with the efforts that have been done in the past. But nonetheless, is there anything you would like our audience to know about the YWCA?
Yeah. So I feel like YWCA is one of South Florida's not best kept secrets, but we do so much. We do so much for the women and families in our community. Challenge is one of those things, but like I mentioned before, we have Head Start. We have early childhood education. We have free breast and cervical screenings. And that might not seem like a big deal, but I always share this example. I'm someone who's fully insured, and I have good insurance. I'm 41. I went and had my first mammogram, had to come back and found out diagnostic testing isn't covered by insurance.
Yeah.
So I think about that for some of the women and the families who can't afford the follow-up and how important those follow-ups are for cancer screenings. We provide those for free, right? Our economic prosperity programs are all geared towards women of color and just women entrepreneurs who need a leg up, need to figure out how to start their own businesses. So we do so much, and I'm just happy to share about it because I want more people to know everything that we do.
Amen. You got to look out for one another.
Absolutely.
It's important. So it's good to have those type of programs. So, from the initiative just mentioned, what are the takeaways for our audience that you want them to see, understand, and realize?
For the Community Justice Challenge, I want them to take away that it starts on Monday. I want them to sign up on our website, YWCASouthFlorida.org. And I want them to know that even though this is sort of a digital, virtual challenge, you are amongst many in the community also taking this challenge. Last year, spread out over South Florida, we had about 400 participants. And that's 400 other people that you're connecting with. Hopefully this year it'll be more. But you're all learning in real time together about the history of the vote and how we got here, how our ancestors, how my ancestors, pushed us forward. And that is powerful. As a collective, that energy, that focus, that connection is powerful. And so that's why we call it the Community Justice Challenge, because we want to build a community around this topic. It's a part of our lives, it's a part of our history, and it's a part of our future. And so doing it as a community, even though you're sitting at your desk, reading it alone, maybe drinking your coffee at your office or at home, what have you, in your car, on your phone, in traffic, you're a part of something bigger than you. And so that's really what I want people to know about it.
Okay. I know when we talk about voting and voting access and voting education, it's very important for us to make sure we hone in on those issues so that we can, make sure people are informed, and hopefully they will understand that their vote could be impacted sometime in the future.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Which of the following barriers do you believe has the greatest impact on voter participation in our community today?
So I will say there is just a never-ending stream of attempts at voter disenfranchisement going on right now, whether it's the House Bill 991, which, if not shut down, will take effect January 2027. You must prove your citizenship. And that's also the SAVE Act, which is the national one. There's redistricting, if you want to call it that. I'll call it gerrymandering. It has reduced the power of entire Black neighborhoods vote, it's diminished the power of our voice just by breaking up the districts. So there's a never-ending campaign to create barriers to voting. And it's the same with the only English, getting your ID. You can only take the test in English. Like that's all in an effort to keep you from voting. And especially for women who also who come in with barriers, whether it's childcare, transportation, livable wages, any of those barriers, in addition to the ones that our local government and our national government are creating or adding on to it. Man, those are, it's a high hill to climb, but the more we know about them, the more I know what it means to my vote, about my vote, with these barriers in place, the more I am able to address them. So I don't know if I answered your question. I think I just went on a...
Yeah, but there are a number of factors that come into play.
Oh, yeah.
Variables that are moving and being manipulated.
Yeah.
Big this whole process. And so, in that, you mentioned voter identity, basically voter identification requirements, citizenship now, and moving, they're, in other words, they're broadening it to citizenship now.
Yeah.
And making that an issue when really the data does not even say that is an issue.
It's a tiny percentage, right?
It's what, 100, less than 100 over 40 years.
Yeah. But there's other more sort of like insidious things, like, things you don't really notice unless you're just aware. Like, last year, Amendment 4, the abortion ban amendment, the ballot language in that amendment was pretty bananas. I'll say bananas. It was wild. I had to read it like 6 times to really fully understand what it was saying was going to happen if I voted yes or no on this ballot. And that's intentional. That language is tricky and difficult intentionally. There's a whole website that will tell you for every state what, level of reader they put the ballot language. And Florida is one of the highest reading levels, and that's intentional. Right. And so
the actual reading level is
is lower than I think it's lower than 5th grade. But and that's an accessibility issue, but that's also a voter suppression issue. So it's not just these big, the SAVE Act. It's not just these big flashy things that we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? It's also these really small things that it is my responsibility and my role as Senior Director of Race and Gender Equity to make that information accessible, understandable, like a 5-year-old is coming for it, because I need my community to understand what they are voting for.
Okay. To you just basically make it make sense.
Make it make sense. So make it accessible. Voter access is like.
But even looking at just the issue of abortion, and me being a male and doing some research, and I'm finding, okay, the public perception of abortion is one thing, but there are many medical procedures that may be termed as an abortion.
Absolutely.
That are far from what that one definition that's being promulgated and pushed throughout.
That's another thing. That's
messaging.
The misinformation, disinformation, that is rampant. Telling people that, abortion is, if we vote yes on Amendment 4, it could mean that, we might have to pay for it out of our tax dollars. There's just a lot of misinformation. And in the 2024 election, we saw a masterclass in mis and disinformation from the, from the other political party. And it's, we have to do our best to we have to stay nonpartisan because we are legally required to, but we can tell people what things mean. We can be factual and accessible and make sure our communities understand what is the truth.
Right. Regardless of the messaging of any political party.
Right.
You have the right and responsibility to make sure the truth is
any political party,
being pushed it.
Absolutely.
So now, and coming close to wrapping up, but do women today still face barriers in voting?
100%.
And what might those barriers be?
So what's interesting is in every election that I have been a part of during YWCA, so local and national, women have outvoted men. They always have a higher voting percentage, always. Black women, white women, Hispanic women, it doesn't matter. Women outvote men.
Mm-hmm.
They are one of the most important parts of our civic engagement. We need women to vote. But these new bills, these new ID laws, these new voter restrictions will impact women more than men.
Of course.
69 million women are facing this Save America Act. 69 million married women who have changed their names.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even, I'm not even bringing up like trans women. Like I'm talking about like, just that voter block is just being impacted. Yeah. And so that again is the big shiny. And then we talk about small things like that actually are huge things like transportation.
Yeah.
If I'm the head of a household and I take public transportation, my first route is to take my kid to Head Start. My second route is to go to work. I then am going to be at work for however long. I've got to figure out how do I get the bus to go vote, get the bus back to work, all within a time frame that I'm not missing 4 hours of work. It's a lot. And then there's like voter purging. There are so many barriers. And so being aware of those barriers, understanding, making a plan for what you need to do, whether it's to vote early, vote by mail, whatever, it needs to start now.
Exactly. Exactly.
It needs to start now.
Agreed. And then, lastly, in what ways might income level impact access to community service opportunities and influence civic participation, including voting behavior among women?
So we talk about I talk about accessibility a lot,
mm-hmm.
And eligibility requirements.
Right.
It is one, we did a report, a research report in 2025 with FIU called the Her Miami Report. And one of the top barriers to accessing resources, whether it is, health insurance, childcare, and including civic engagement, is eligibility.
Okay.
So understanding eligibility requirements, understanding is income restrictions necessary, understanding if your resources or your services that you're providing need to require an income restriction. Is this really necessary? But also understanding that women who work part-time jobs or are working in the service industry, are working in labor, manual labor, agricultural labor, they're facing different barriers than women who might be in, administrative C-suite level positions. Just understanding the differences there is important. And income level definitely is one of those
barriers.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well,
sure.
I want to say, first of all, as we get ready to close out, can you give some parting words of wisdom, or a call to action if you're so inclined, so that we can again encourage people to get actively engaged in this election cycle and future election cycles?
I'm trying to think of a quote, but I think I'll just end this with a call to action. Learn your history because it informs the present and it will impact the future. Vote like your life depends on it, because it does, and no one is immune. Voter suppression at some point will come for everyone. So stand up, be an ally, vote, and it's our responsibility to do it. It's our privilege to vote. So we need to take it seriously.
Amen. And remind the community how to get in touch with you.
Yes. So again, Sarah Coleman, YWCA South Florida. Our Community Justice Challenge starts on Monday. You can sign up at ywcasouthflorida.org. You can follow us on Instagram and sign up at the link in our bio. But we're in Overtown. We're in Overtown, and we'll be there probably for another 106 years. So.
And we're going to invite them to come move some resources down south.
Yes.
Or more resources.
So more resources down south, yes.
But again, thank you for your indulgence. And more importantly, thank you for viewing us. I'll see you at the next episode.
Thank you for joining us in the Empowerment Zone, brought to you by South Dade NAACP, where information becomes action, voices become movements, and community becomes change. We hope today's conversation inspired you to stay informed, stay engaged, and stay empowered. Remember, our voices are strongest when they are heard at the ballot box. Voting and voter registration are powerful tools that help shape our schools, neighborhoods, leadership, and future. Encourage someone to register, make a plan to vote, and continue doing your part to strengthen our community. And don't forget to email your feedback, thoughts, and/or suggestions for topics that you want to hear about to podcast@southdade.naacp.org. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep leading, because together we are building a stronger South Miami-Dade, one conversation at a time.